of the Logan Zone as there's only a few weeks left in the college football season. Philip Pilkington here alongside the coach, Steve Logan. But before we toss it to Coach, I do want to thank some of our sponsors. We're going to start with Bill Clark Homes. Bill Clark Homes has always been there for ECU, and they can continue to support year after year because Bill Clark Homes continues to build quality homes and neighborhoods in both the Greenville area and the Wilmington area. And whether it's Greenville or Wilmington, you can choose your school district with several homes under construction and available now in both markets. Eastern North Carolina's premier home builder, Bill Clark Homes, building family traditions. And now I'm going to welcome in the host of the Logan Zone, Coach Logan. How you doing on this Week 12 edition of the show?
I'm doing great, man, and it's a kind of an exciting time, particularly in Greenville. I was driving this morning, and I got to thinking about the state of football in the state of North Carolina. And once again, if you really want to be honest about it, in the state of North Carolina, I think East Carolina has the best football team in the state. And which in this particular day and age of NIL money and whatever else you want to put together, the way that you're buying your roster these days. East Carolina's got a big game coming up. They're all big in November when you're relevant, and East Carolina is relevant. But, a couple of things. I want you to get in here with the audience here in a second and untangle this web of possibilities that East Carolina's found themselves in. But, I'm big on numbers. Each week I kind of open up with numbers. And at this time of the year, early on, we always talk about the numbers, how they can be skewed when you play a Campbell or one of those kind of scrimmage-type football games, and your numbers can get skewed. And but at this time of the year, the numbers are really representative of what kind of football team you've got. Right now, East Carolina's 25th in scoring offense, 15th in scoring defense, which is unbelievable. Caton Hauser's ranked 14th in passing yards, 9th in the country on third down conversions, 11th in the country on preventing third downs from being converted, which is a tip of the hat to the defense, and 8th in the country on fourth down conversions for the defense. So, you are what you are, as they say, and those numbers are pretty compelling. And North Carolina State, Duke, University of North Carolina, Wake, nobody else is putting up numbers like that. And I know there's a different level of competition. That's a matter of fact. The ACC is a little bit stronger than the AAC. But having said all that, East Carolina's they put together a good football team. And again, it's kind of amazing in this day and age of NIL that this is where we are with the state of football in the state of North Carolina. Having said all that, Philip, I know you and Steve and I go and the boys back there in Greenville, America. East Carolina is in a kind of a tricky spot right now. They're tied for the league lead, true, in the American.
Yeah, half a game out, but yeah, there's a bunch of teams with one loss.
Yeah, but they're one of the ones that are one loss, and we're getting down to the final 2 or 3 games of the season. But just walk our audience through the what ifs and the how abouts, which are kind of endless. But see if you can clear it up for most folks, at least so we know who to root for.
Yeah, Coach, this is an interesting deal here. East Carolina, Navy, Tulane, North Texas, and South Florida all have just one loss. Now, the first tiebreaker is head-to-head, but when you have a more than two-way tie, and unless one team just beat both of the other two teams, it's going to come down to college football playoff ranking. Well, Coach, right now South Florida's the only one ranked in the college football playoff. So then it would go down to a slew of different computer metrics that some tech geeks that are way smarter than Coach Logan and I wrote up. And so at the end of the day, you don't want to be left out based off some metric. You would like to be one of two teams remaining in the conference with just one conference loss. So you need 3 of the following 4 teams to lose at least one game. That'd be Navy, Tulane, North Texas, and South Florida, paired with East Carolina winning out. Now, Navy's got the toughest road here, Coach. They do only have 2 more games left. They are technically the leader at 5-1, whereas everybody else sits at 4-1. Yes, so that does math out right. and they have South Florida and then at Memphis left. So tough road for them. Tulane, pretty easy here.
Okay, hold that thought. Okay, so Navy has 2 games left, and that's
Yep.
against two of arguably the 2 of the 3 best teams. They've got to play South Florida, and I'm looking right here. They're a 10-point underdog in that game as we sit here. True?
Correct.
Probably be about the same for Memphis. So, for them to win out, that's going to be tough. Okay, go to your next one and tell me what we're dealing with.
Tulane's got FAU, Temple, and Charlotte.
Should be favored in all 3. True?
Correct.
All right.
North Texas has got UAB, Rice, and Temple.
Favored in all 3 again, right?
Yep.
So, if you're coaching East Carolina, really what you just tell the kids in the locker room, go win the next game, right?
Yeah. Well, I think you tell them that anyways, but yeah. And then South Florida's got the game at Navy, and then they've got UAB and Rice. So what it boils down to, just quick here, you want Navy to go ahead and beat South Florida, and then hope that Memphis handles Navy, because that'll at least help you with 2 of the teams. And then you're going to have to wish upon a star for Tulane or North Texas to lose.
So, you're right. So, you're looking at double-digit spreads.
Yeah.
And again, I'm not a bookie. I'm not a bettor. But those numbers do mean something when you look up and see that your team is a 10, 14-point underdog. And right now, though, back to East Carolina. East Carolina, I'm watching this thing. It's like a 3-point. East Carolina's a 3-point favorite as we sit here. Is that fairly accurate?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Well, the other joker in the deck, we'll talk to Jim Zoki about this. He's going to be coming on here in about 15 minutes or so. But the starting quarterback, the Memphis journey this year, and I was talking to Henry Hinton this morning on a little piece on the radio on his morning show. Memphis has had, just 3 weeks ago, Memphis, in their locker room, in their football building, they're really in position to go into the 12-team playoff as the representative of the Group of 5. That's kind of where they were sitting and how they were feeling and the way they were talking. And then lo and behold, the University of Alabama, Birmingham, Memphis has to go there to play. They go down there and they get off to a bad start, and then on top of everything else, their quarterback, Memphis's quarterback is a difference maker. He is really a difference maker. And he turns an ankle, whatever. He's got a leg injury. That's what I do know. He comes out of the game, and Memphis played most of the game against UAB with a backup quarterback, and they were a different-looking football team, without question. They did not look the same with the backup quarterback in. Now, I'll say this about that particular football game. Memphis did come back late in the UAB game with the backup quarterback. He was kind of getting his feet on the ground, and it came down to the last play of the game that, the kid, put him in position to win, couldn't quite pull it off. Well, pretty much the same thing happened in the Tulane game just last week with Memphis. This quarterback evidently is trying to play, but he's playing hurt. And this is going to be a big deal, and I would tell the East Carolina fans to pay attention. Philip, this young man's last name, what is it, Lewis?
Lewis, yep.
His last name is Lewis, and he's the starting quarterback from Memphis. And if this young man starts and plays the whole game, it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough. I do believe that Memphis has a better defensive front than East Carolina's, but at the same time, and I've said this all year long as a compliment to the defensive coaches at East Carolina, East Carolina is doing a fantastic job of playing true team defense, because I just don't see a difference maker player in their front seven, and normally that's kind of like you have to have that guy in order to have a good defense. Well, there's a way in which you can be proved wrong, and there it is right there. East Carolina's playing really sound gap control, bend, don't break, but they do have a really nice blitz package that Coach Harrell does a nice job of showing you a blitz coming, let's say, from the quarterback's left and then rotating it back around to the right. Those are difficult things for a quarterback to handle. And they've done a nice job of creating tackles for loss and those kinds of things. I see where they're ranked nationally with that idea as well. So anyway, it's going to be a good football game, and I tell you what, I'm hoping. by the way, Philip, did you see Lane Kiffin's press conference this particular week? Because this is relevant to East Carolina. I want to, and it brought back a memory for Steve Logan. Did you happen to see Lane Kiffin's press conference at Ole Miss?
No, I didn't.
Okay, well here's what he was talking about. He was aggravated. He was aggravated with the crowd at Ole Miss last week because it wasn't sold out or something like that. And he said the reason it wasn't sold out is because it was the opening of the hunting season. And I remember this at East Carolina. We would come out of the tunnel in October, late October, whatever, and it was the opening of. I'm not a hunter at all. I'd blow my foot off if you give me a chance. But I remember being stunned, and I asked. This was earlier in my career there, and I remember I asked. I said, "Where is everybody?" And they said, "It's deer season. Everybody's out hunting deer." Well, Lane said that he was irritated. He said he didn't know what season it was. He said he thought it might be squirrel season down in Mississippi, and it thinned out his crowd. So I would say this to all of the squirrel hunters and deer hunters in eastern North Carolina, of which there are millions of them. And it's just, I get it, it's a big deal, but if there's a way in which you could just give up maybe one hunting day and help fill up the stands, it would matter. The crowd, the home crowd does matter. And East Carolina in the American Athletic Conference has one of the better atmospheres by far. And so this is something that, I'm hoping that everybody can lay down their rifle and show up and make a difference, because this game, probably, this game is going to go deep into the fourth quarter if the turnovers don't get out of hand on either end of the stick. This game is going to go really deep, and the home crowd's going to matter. And so anyway, there's my little deal about East Carolina. I was pulling up the numbers on East Carolina and Memphis. Both of these offenses are rocking and rolling right now. East Carolina's knocking down 34 points a game, and Memphis is at 37. Scoring defense, East Carolina is at 17 points a game, which is incredible. That's incredible in the day of spread offenses. The way that spread offenses are putting up points to hold people to 17 a game, that's really good work. And Memphis is sitting there at 21 points a game. The turnover margins are almost identical. East Carolina is at a +5. Memphis is at a +8. So they're doing a nice job handling the football. The third down conversions, East Carolina is converting at 51%, which is elite. That's elite work. When you crack that 50% mark on third down conversions, they're holding people to 30% on the other side of the football. Memphis is solid on third down at 43%, and they're holding people to 38% on their third down conversions. I dug a little bit deeper. The fourth down, and you mark my words, there's going to be some moments in this game where both teams are probably going to need to or want to or find themselves in a position where they have to go for it on fourth down. And you're going to have to defend on fourth down. And so I kind of dug around on those numbers. Well, East Carolina's fourth down offensive conversions is sitting at 37%. They are defending at a rate of 33% on fourth down. Here's a little bit of a scary picture. Memphis has attempted 16 fourth down conversions this year. They've been successful 11 times for a 68% fourth down conversion rate, which is scary. And but on the flip side of that, people have gone for fourth down against Memphis 19 times and converted 10 times, so they're giving up 50% on a fourth down conversion. East Carolina's better on defense on fourth down. Memphis is better on offense than East Carolina is on a fourth down conversion. And just remember that as this game unfolds, because again, minus a turnover hiccup that skews all of these numbers, there will be some huge fourth down calls late in this football game. That's just the way the football industrial complex, that's the way it operates. And we all know that to be true. In the meantime, the field goals. East Carolina is 11 of 13 in the field goal. Field goals are tricky when you start just taking raw numbers, because you know and I know if you're out there attempting a 48-yard field goal with a college kicker, the percentages go down. But regardless, just the raw numbers, East Carolina is 11 of 13 in the field goal department, which is very healthy, very healthy. And Memphis is 12 of 15. So there's not a lot of difference there. I think both field goal kickers are, solid, and they'll do a nice job there. A bit of bad news. This is a big deal. This is a really big deal that nobody ever talks about, and I used to be manic about it. It's what's called a hidden yardage element of football, and it concerns net punt. And also, kickoff coverage is in this area as well, although I don't believe that kickoff coverage has quite the same impact as net punt. I just know that when you're punting the football, ideally what you want to do, you want to punt a football 40 yards, and you want the guy to fair catch it 40 yards deep, so you gain a net of 40 yards, all right? I had a young man, in fact, I think he's the color commentator for East Carolina now, Andrew Bays, consensus All-American punter. And Andrew Bays, who I loved him, he changed game. He won football games for us. Andrew Bays did. But invariably, we worked on our punt coverage with Andrew Bays more than any other punter I've been around in my entire college or professional career, because Andrew Bays would punt the ball routinely 48 to 50 yards. Now, the good news was Andrew had great hang time, but we had to work on our punt coverage because the old saying, you out-punted your coverage. And if you give a good punt returner time to catch a football and you look up and your coverage unit is still 12 to 15 yards away from the returner, you got problems. You got big problems. But we used to work I remember allocating close to 20 and 25 minutes for punt coverage when we had Andrew, which is an enormous allotment of time on a practice schedule for punt coverage. But we did that. But the point I'm making is that right now, on paper, raw numbers, Memphis has a better net punt than East Carolina. And what happens, just imagine this, in the course of a game, you punt 5 times, I punt 5 times, your net punt is 40, my net punt is 37. Okay, well, all of a sudden, those little 3 to 5 yard net punt differences add up, and the field begins to flip. And I begin to have a shorter field to deal with than you do. And those kinds of things that the casual fan, people that love football and think about it a lot, have no idea the impact of hidden yardage on an offensive play caller, head coaching decisions, fourth down decisions, just like I just talked about a minute ago. Those kinds of things add up. It's a game of inches. No doubt about it. We're going to come back. We got Zoki coming in, Philip. Is that where we're headed?
Yes, sir, we do.
All right. Jim Zoki will be here. He'll give us a double shot of East Carolina and the Panthers. The Panthers. Holy moly. Gave one away last week. All right. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
It's bow time. The Pork Chop Griller is back at Bojangles for a limited time. We know you missed it in all its tender, marinated glory, and how could you not? Because when you take a juicy, mouth-watering pork chop and sandwich it on a flaky, made-from-scratch buttermilk biscuit, it's not a flavor you want to say goodbye to. And don't worry, if it could talk, we're pretty sure it would say, I missed you too. Get to the nearest Bojangles and order yours today. It's bow time.
I want to take a minute here to tell you about Bill Clark Homes. the football stadium, the baseball stadium, the Pirate Club, whatever it is, Bill Clark Homes has always been there for ECU. The reason they can do all of this is because Bill Clark Homes continues to build quality homes and neighborhoods in both the Greenville area and in the Wilmington area. And whether it's Greenville or Wilmington, you can choose your school district with several homes under construction and available now in both markets. Eastern North Carolina's premier home builder, Bill Clark Homes, building family traditions.
If you're concerned about your home security in Wilson and Rocky Mount or any part of Eastern North Carolina, High-Tech Communications has merged with SCI Technologies. This collaboration brings a variety of products and services that do more than keep your home or business safe. They differentiate themselves through their service and commitment to providing you the most reliable and cost-effective system for your individual location. Security systems can be installed for as little as $99. Google SCI Technologies for security, life safety, and home automation. It's SCI Technologies.
Hey folks, Coach Logan here. Did you know that one of the top-rated insurance agencies in the country has been operating right here in our backyard since 1952? Snipes Insurance was just awarded a 2025 Best Practices designation, one of only 16 in North Carolina to receive this honor. Director of Benefits and Pirate alum Lewis Gale lives right here in Greenville. They also have a dedicated commercial and agricultural department. Check them out at snipesinsurance.com or email Lewis at snipesinsurance.com.
Terrain changes, seasons change, but Honda ATVs, they show up ready. The 2026 4Trax Rancher, Foreman, and Rubicon are back, just as reliable as ever. With available four-wheel drive, automatic DCT, and independent rear suspension on select models, there's a Honda built for how you ride. Visit Ron Ayers Motorsports today and count on a Honda to get it done. For your safety, read the owner's manual and always wear a helmet and eye protection. Honda ATVs are for riders 16 years and older. Visit Ron Ayers Motorsports, north of the airport on Memorial Drive, Greenville.
As fall approaches, two things come to mind: football and cooler weather. This is Rachel Davis with Advanced Mechanical Heating and Air. We wanted to thank you for the trust you have put in us this summer. Before you know it, cooler temperatures will arrive, signaling winter is on the way. Don't wait. Prepare now for colder temperatures by scheduling a tune-up. Give us a call today at 252-355-9191 or visit our website, advancedmechnc.com.
It's the season for warmer clothes, hot apple cider, and changing leaves. But what doesn't change and what won't change is our commitment to your complete satisfaction each and every time you visit our dealership. Phelps Chevrolet in Greenville. Complete customer satisfaction isn't just a seasonal thing, it's delivered every day. That's why we are the place to find your next truck or SUV. Come in and get you one. Phelps Chevrolet. Visit today or see us on the web.
Coach Logan's in the zone. And now, so are you. Back into the Logan Zone. Brought to you by Bill Clark Homes, Greenville Utilities, and Bojangles. On 94.3 The Game and Talk 96.3.
Welcome back into the Logan Zone Week 12 version of our show. We're about to bring in the voice of the Pirates and one of the color commentators for the Panthers, Jim Szoke. But first, I want to tell you about Greenville Utilities. Even though Greenville Utilities has a reliability rate of more than 99.99%, sometimes outages happen. Just like in football, you need a plan for what to do just in case. Right now, grab your cell phone, open the contacts list, and add GUC's emergency hotline as a contact. Here's the number to use: 1-855-767-2482. That's 855-SOS-2-GUC. Plan on using that instead of fumbling around when the lights go out. Now we're going to toss it back over to our host, Coach Logan, and hopefully he's going to talk to Jim a little bit more about the Pirates than he does the Panthers, but we'll see. Take it away, Coach.
Hey, Zoke, are you there, man?
I am right here, Coach. How are you?
I'm doing good. I've been the Panther thing has irritated me no end, but I'm going to wait. We'll get to that in a minute. And this East Carolina thing. Let me throw something at you. I know that you're deep in the woods with the Pirates as a play-by-play guy, and you're watching individual players, whereas I'm watching more of the scheme and the overall aspect of things. But I mentioned this morning, I did a little spot on the radio, and I mentioned this morning, when you come off the bus, you're coming out of the tunnel with a football team. You obviously have an offensive game plan ready to go, you've got a defensive game plan ready to go, and you have a special teams game plan ready to go. But more importantly, from the head coaching position, you should have an emotional game plan in place. And the way that I presented it in my journey was, on Sunday, getting ready for the game to come. That was your first time meeting with the team. You begin to lay out an emotional frame of mind that you want to enter into this game Monday. Then you hit them again in practice Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Friday night meeting is a big deal for the emotional game plan. And you make this big presentation. But I said I was talking with Henry Hinton, and I said I would much rather be the head coach of East Carolina than I would be the head coach of Memphis emotionally entering into this game, because I know that 3 weeks ago Memphis is sitting there talking about going to a 12-team playoff, and bang, bang, suddenly they're not. And I understand 18, 19, 20, and 21-year-old kids. I understand them intimately, how they handle adversity. And I'm just going to throw that to you and tell me what you think.
It's a great point. I think it's a great time for ECU to be playing them, too, because you get them at home. So Memphis not only loses to Tulane, the heartbreaking loss, 38-32. They kind of did, to a different degree, what the Pirates did. Fell behind early, got back into it, but too late for them. And with the Pirates, got the lead and then ended up losing at the end. So they both have been through a similar situation. But, the Pirates have won 3 in a row, just clinched the bowl game, got momentum on their side. They're at home for senior day. And Memphis has to hit the road after, as you said, a devastating loss because of how high the ceiling looked like it could be for them no longer exists. So all those things they were talking about, I just talked with their play-by-play guy, Dave Woloshin, about that about an hour ago, and interviewed him for our pregame show. And it's the same thing. Obviously, they're going to come in and play their best football, and they're a very talented team. But to talk about what you're talking about, the emotional component, that's real. And you've got a bunch of 18 to 22-year-olds or whatever out there, and it's now they're not in line for that. In fact, they're behind the 5 teams in the conference who are 1 loss because they're now a 2-loss team, even though the record is really good at 8-2, 4-2. You think you would take that? They're going to go to their 11th consecutive bowl game, but that's become like the norm. Is like going to a bowl game and maybe winning the number of games they have. Now that's off the plate, so it'll be interesting to see how they bounce back from that. Not that they can't, but it'll be interesting to see how well they do it in terms of doing that.
Well, I'll throw one more thing in that's new. This is new to the college football coaches. I experienced this in the NFL, all right? And here's what I'm going to talk about. Memphis, right now, I promise you, has got 4 to 5 really good football players that are making X amount of dollars at Memphis right now. Mm-hmm. You know, I know, we all know, their agent and the kid, there's 4 or 5 of them that suddenly they got a chance to go maybe play at Auburn next year, and they've already been contacted. You know that. I know that. Everybody knows that. All right? It would scare me to death if I'm the head coach of Memphis right now. I would know, I know, there's 4 to 5 kids on that team that I don't know how hard they're going to play. I don't know how hard they're going to lay out in this one to protect themselves from a possible injury over the next 3 weeks. And again, this has to do with, 3 weeks ago we're going to the big dance. Now we're not. Well, now it becomes big me, little team. And that was routine business and understood business in the NFL when you were dealing with a kid that was working in a free agent type year. That's routine business. The GM understood it. Steve Logan understood it. When I had a running back in that situation, I would watch a kid protect himself the last 6 games of an NFL season when we weren't in playoff contention. And that's normal, natural, and it's not, you can't really blame the player. But I'll guarantee you there's some element of that in a Memphis locker room right now. Your comment.
No, you're spot on. And, it used to be like with the college kids, like the thing that would happen is like the ones that were going to go in the draft high would maybe not play in the bowl game. I remember Christian McCaffrey was one of the first ones at Stanford to do that.
Correct.
And then it became, keep going down the road a little bit. Then it became guys that were just going to be drafted wouldn't play in bowl games. We saw last year with the ECU, Winston Wright not play because he was going to be an undrafted rookie free agent. You got guys protecting themselves all over the place now when it comes to looking at their futures. Now they're doing it within their underclassmen years because of what you're saying, that they're looking to maybe transfer somewhere else to see what the next dollar is, because they've put enough film on tape that they'll say, this is my body of work, it's my resume, this is what I've done. So even if I hold up a little bit, I'll be like, yeah, but he was, the agent would say he's protecting himself for what's coming next or whatever, as far as moving where he's going to go to next, or at least that possibility. So it's there. And there are some guys that are in this college game just to go pick a school to see who's got the biggest bag of money for them, and that's it. There's no other loyalty beyond that. And so it's not everywhere, but you will see it, and they're going to be, like you said, 4 to 5, whatever number of guys. And if they're key guys, that tank the rest of your season from this point out.
Well, it is a real and delicate dance, and this is brand new to the college culture. And this is something that college coaches have never dealt with. Just like 3 years ago, the college coaches had no idea how to distribute whatever money they did have. I know an instance of a college coach spreading all the money evenly through the locker room so that everybody would, quote, be happy, which ended up being a disaster because, you've got to learn how to manage that money just as the pros do. There's a percentage that's allocated to quarterbacks, offensive line, blah, 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 that has become routine now, but the college coaches had to get educated to that. But I can't confirm this, but I saw today where I think, are you familiar with the quarterback at South Carolina, Lenore Sellers? Is that his name?
Yes.
He's a really good player. I think I saw where he's not going to play anymore, and it's already in the pipeline that he's going to be the next starting quarterback at the University of Miami, which, Miami has positioned themselves now to where they're going to build their roster and go buy a 4th or 5th year quarterback every year. They did it with the Carson Beck kid that is and isn't working out. But I'm just saying, for Lenore Sellers to walk away from South Carolina right now, if this is accurate, Shane Beamer is going to get fired.
Right.
He's the linchpin to them even being competitive. But anyway, we're kind of wandering off subject here, but I'm just telling you, there's no question in my mind that I would rather be the head coach at East Carolina today than I would Memphis. I believe Memphis has a little bit better roster. And I do want to ask you real quickly, what your take on, I watched the Memphis game against the University of Alabama, Birmingham with great interest because I have a young man that is currently the interim head coach there that is a very close friend of mine. But the starting quarterback at Memphis, he got dinged up in that game. He came in and out of that game. Part of the reason that Memphis got beat at UAB. And then, of course, I think over the last 2 weeks, this young man has been in and out with a leg injury. Do you have any update on his status?
Yeah, it's an ankle, and you're right, it was a UAB game, and he was in and out of their game last week against Tulane dealing with that. And the expectation is that he will play. So I think he'll play in this game is what I'm being told. But he stayed in the pocket. So this is a kid that's run for over 500 yards and 8 touchdowns on the ground. He stayed in the pocket last week in the loss, but Tulane threw for 317 yards, which was a career high, hit 29 out of 34. So I think you'll just see a different version of him. I think you'll see more of a pocket passing Brendan Lewis and probably not see him out there with that ankle being able to run much because he's not at that point. So he's playing injured. Some guys are hurt. I think he's actually playing what I would call injured at this point, but he did do well in the pocket last week.
Well, when he's full speed, because I took a look at him previous to the UAB game, and I really took a look at Memphis, and I said to myself that that's one of the reasons that this kid's really, really, really good. And if he's in the game against East Carolina, it's going to matter, and if he's not in the game, that's going to matter too. So, anyway, going to be a good football game, and I'm looking forward to it. I'm going to actually go to the game. And I'm looking forward to it. And okay, I'm going to transition now. All right, I'm going to try to look at here. This Panther thing, Zoke. This is starting to get to me. Okay, let me throw some numbers at you. And bear in mind, I am rooting, and I always was rooting for Bryce Young to become good. All right, I'm rooting for the kid.
Yes.
All right, here we go. yards per game, the Carolina Panthers are 27th in the league at 297 yards per game. But hold that thought for a minute. In rushing yards in the NFL, the Panthers are 8th at 133 yards a game. So that means their passing game is generating 164 yards a game, which is 30th in the NFL. And their points, of course, are 17 points a game. And everything that makes the Panthers struggle right now, because on defense, yards per game, on defense, Carolina's 16th in the league. That's healthy enough to win. Points per game, 16th in the league at 22 points a game given up. So I'm just saying the only hiccup in this presentation right now is what ended up becoming the first pick of the draft. And I'm, every now and then I think there's a little hope, and then all of a sudden something like last week comes along and I just can't take it anymore. What do you think?
And the thing is, you're right. So the last 3 games against the Jets, Green Bay, and against New Orleans, he's thrown for 138 yards, 102 yards, and 124. I mean, there's high school, there's middle school guys that throw for more yards than that. So it's not going to get it done consistently in the NFL. You're not always going to have a Rico Dowdle going for 200 yards every week. I mean, you could get away with it while that's happening. But obviously what defenses are going to do is load up the box, make you one-dimensional, say, okay, we're taking that away from you. You have to throw the ball. And we saw proof of that last week that he wasn't able to respond. And you can't just dink and dunk it either, because they're still in the neighborhood. So even if you throw a short one, he's going to be tackled immediately because they're still throwing it, basically within the box and that the edges on the sideline and those out routes, which one of those got intercepted last week. And so They had one deep ball down the field last week. It was an incompletion to Xavier Legette. You can't play in the NFL and consistently win that way. You can beat the Jets, and you can find games where your defense really balls out and really keeps it where it's a low-scoring game, and you can get by with just enough offense, but not consistently to be able to win that way. It's not the formula. So it'll be interesting to see what they do in this particular game, though, because ironically, while the Panthers, this should be a week where they should come off their tendency and be more of a throwing team, they're playing a team that gets about as much pressure on the quarterback as anybody in the league does, and they're one of the worst rushing defenses in the league. So what they do worst, the Panthers do best, which is run. And what you're trying to improve upon, they're very good at getting after it. They're 5th in sacks, and they get a lot of quarterback pressures. They're high up there in interceptions. They give up the fewest passing yards in the NFL. So this will be a really difficult test for Bryce and the offense to do well in the pass game. So it'll be interesting to see the chess match of trying to come off your tendency, yet play your weaker side, which is the pass game, against their strong side, which is pass defense.
Right. And of course, the Atlanta Falcons they've been as crazy this year as the Panthers. They really have, and they shouldn't be. It's not real healthy at the Falcons right now, and I'm watching them with great interest. As I told you, I worked for Raheem Morris and have great respect for Raheem and want him to win. I want him to make it. But anyway, let me ask you this. Talking about, it's been, I looked up the other day and suddenly it's been 8 or 9 years since I coached in the NFL. And every year, they tweak contracts, rookie contracts, practice squad numbers. Everything gets tweaked year to year, and I've kind of lost track of it. So tell me, Bryce Young is in his 3rd year. True?
Yes.
Okay, so when you come into the NFL, you would come in on a rookie contract, which was 4 years long. Is that still the case?
Yeah, so it's 4 years and then a team option for the 5th year.
So we're getting into, things are going to get dicey here in about 8 or 9 weeks with the management end of Bryce Young. Some real hard discussions are going to have to come into play if things continue, like you say, 150 yards a game throwing the football over and over. I mean, that, Ray Charles can figure out that ain't working, okay? And that's the culprit in these numbers. The rest of these numbers are relatively healthy. And so, when you go down that road, can you get, at the end of this season, the Panthers basically, they're still on the hook for the money with Bryce Young. They're still on the hook with the money. And there's really no quick exit this coming year. It would have to be 2 years from now. Is that what we're saying?
Yeah, I mean, if you didn't pick up the option, it would be this remainder of this year plus one more year, so 1 year plus that you would be on the hook for, that you don't have to pick up the option yet.
Well, along those lines, in fact, hopefully I never can find in my stack of papers. Okay, here it is right here. You and I spoke briefly a couple of weeks ago on this subject. We were talking about Sam Darnold that was in the Panther locker room, and we were talking about Baker Mayfield that was in the Panther locker room. And here we are. But, you know, the handling of a quarterback in the NFL, the rookie quarterbacks, let me just throw this at you to sober you up. Ready? Yep. Jackson Dart, first-round pick. Result, head coach, fired. Cam Ward, first-round pick. Result, head coach, fired. Caleb Williams, he was a first-round pick. Result, the head coach, fired. Drake May, first-round pick. That coach got fired. Bryce Young, did Matt Rule draft him?
He was brought in with Frank Reich, who got fired.
That's right. Okay, so Bryce Young, first-round pick, fired. Trevor Lawrence, 5-6 years ago, whatever that was, first-round quarterback, his coach, fired. So, you know, I think that the new way, unless you're the Green Bay Packers, who have enough toughness, managerial toughness, to actually draft somebody in the first round and sit them on the bench and let them learn something, okay, with the exception of the Packers, I think what we're learning is in the NFL, for the Panthers to solve their quarterback problem, you got to go capture somebody that has been declared a bust, but through a grinding journey like Baker Mayfield, gets their feet back on the ground, and that Sam Darnold, and all of a sudden that's how you can kind of weasel your way out of your quarterback problem. And I'm going to throw that at you and give me some better answers because I don't have one.
Yeah, but another example is like Indianapolis. They drafted in that same draft with Bryce Young, Anthony Richardson, who, by the way, was the second option the Panthers were considering, not C.J. Stroud, the year they took Bryce Young. And Anthony Richardson's been injured and doesn't look like he can play. They bring in Daniel Jones, who the Giants had and never could figure out how to use him properly or get great success. They had kind of a partial good year with him there, but not much long-term success with Daniel Jones. They let him go, and now Daniel Jones is playing like an MVP this year.
And that, again, you captured it right there again. It's just an amazing dynamic because, I don't know how old you are, but I'm anxious. I'm old as dirt suddenly. And, the way the NFL operated for centuries was to have a starting quarterback, draft a quarterback sits on the bench 2-3 years. I mean, Aaron Rodgers did it under Brett Favre, and Jordan Love did it under Aaron Rodgers. And again, the Green Bay Packers keep solving their problems by exhibiting managerial toughness, which you and I talked about. I asked you a couple of weeks ago about drafting for the Panthers, and you were talking about a tackle and somebody else. There wasn't any sex appeal, to any of the drafts that you were talking about. But, if you're going to do it, you got to have managerial toughness to make the draft, do what's best for the team, and let the people that are drinking beer on draft day throw their beer at the TV and get over it.
Yeah, we live in an era now where if you spend, say, a top 10 pick or whatever, it's almost expected you're going to bring them in to start right away, ready or not. And the feeling is, like we talked about, you have 4 years of control, 5 to 6 with the option years. And so the clock's ticking as soon as you get them on the rookie contract. And you want to see if they can play or not, and you've invested in it. And as a coach and a GM, it actually buys you a little bit of time because you say, we're grooming a young quarterback. This is what's going on with Michael Penix in Atlanta. He's 4-7 as a starter. And your buddy Raheem Morris could be in trouble because of it. Because like they've got a lot of good players. They got Bijan Robinson. They've got Drake London. They've got great players around him. But he could be a victim of what you just described, of a quarterback who's playing too soon, who sat out half of last year before he started playing as a rookie. And it's not going well because he's clearly not completely ready. He would have benefited from sitting longer behind Kirk Cousins, but they're not doing that. And the guy who's going to pay the price with a 3-6 record, if it continues down that path, is Raheem Morris by the end of this year.
Yeah. Well, Philip, you just texted me. You just read what you just texted me to Zoki here, Philip.
Just kind of off the dome here, Zoke, and excluding all those great Green Bay quarterbacks, Don Meredith, Joe Montana, Tom Brady, Eli Manning, all did not start week one as a rookie. I'm sure there's a handful of more. They were just names that came to the top of my head, and obviously a lot of success. Every single one of those that played in the Super Bowl era that I just mentioned went on to win multiple Super Bowls. Meredith, I guess, technically played 2 years of the Super Bowl era, but, the end of his career.
Yeah, but you're right. It's a different time when you did things more that made sense in a football world. Now it's the marketing of the team, fan engagement with like the new quarterback coming in out of the college class and so forth. And you see a couple make it, but I would have thought surely, like you mentioned, Trevor Lawrence. I thought for sure he'd be one of the next great quarterbacks in this league. And they brought in a new coach this year, Liam Cohen, and it's actually gotten worse. Somehow he's actually playing worse than he's played under Urban Meyer and everybody else he's played under down there with it, Doug Peterson. So, I mean, he's had some guys like Doug Peterson knows quarterbacks, and it's been crazy how they've just not been able to unlock him, and you start to wonder if it's because he just got thrown out there too soon and it's just not going to work out for him.
Well, Zoe, Trevor, I'm 100% with you. When Trevor Lawrence, to me, the struggles that he's had, that's been a mystery to me, because that kid is talented, unbelievably talented, but it's been a struggle with under 3 or 4 different coaches. So anyway, all right, Zoke, I'm going to let you off the hook, man. I'll check you out Thursday, play-by-play for the Pirates, Saturday. And that's a 4 o'clock kickoff. Is that true?
That is true.
All right. I'll put my earpiece in and I'll critique your play calling, okay?
Okay, well, come out to the booth, do it in person. Come hang out with Philip and us.
I'll put some headsets on, come in your booth, and give you some help. What do you think? I could set football back 100 years if you let me do that.
You probably don't want to be in the box after all those years up in the box.
Oh, I'm telling you, man. I get the heebie-jeebies just going up that elevator. I swear I do. But I appreciate you coming in, man. We'll check with you next week, okay?
Sounds good. Thanks, Steve.
All right. Dave Nathan. Excuse me. We're going to have Dave Nathan. That was Jim Zoki. Jim does a double shot, working for the Pirates, working for the Panthers. We're going to solve the Panthers one of these days, boys. I don't know when, how, or where, but it's going to get a little tough, I believe. All right. We're going to take some phone calls here, Philip.
Yeah, we can get one or two in before Dave Nathan, top of the hour.
All right. Dave Nathan going to come in at the top of the hour. So there's some interesting stuff going on in Chapel Hill. I can't take my eyes off of it. It's an amazing deal over in Chapel Hill. All right. Give me a call, 252-561-4263. Love to hear from you. We'll take a break and be right back.
Locals know, visitors discover, and everyone's welcome at Caribsea and Emerald Isle. Stop in for the handcrafted cocktails, stay for the live music and rooftop views at the Torpedo Lounge. Caribsea's menu features fresh seafood, hand-cut steaks, and the famous baked crab cakes locals swear by. Caribsea is the only spot on the island taking reservations with plenty of space for your crew. CaribseaRestaurant.com. For date night, family dinner, or a relaxed evening with friends, it's Caribsea and Emerald Isle.
When making decisions on your insurance coverages to protect your most valuable assets, First State Insurance Advisors is here to help. When you choose First State, you are working with people you can trust right here in Eastern North Carolina. Clark Stallings and his team provide knowledgeable advice with excellent service. Whether you're protecting your family with life insurance, your home and auto with personal coverage, or your business with reliable commercial insurance, First State Insurance Advisors has you covered. We would be honored to become your trusted choice agency.
Anytime is a great time for Dunkin'. Their menu is full of great tasting items like sandwiches, bagels, donuts, and hot or iced coffee that'll get you going in the morning and keep you running throughout your busy day. Made to order, just the way you like. Save time and order ahead with your Dunkin' Rewards mobile app. With 4 locations in Greenville, Rocky Mount, Nashville, and Wilson, Eastern North Carolina runs on Dunkin'.
Jeff Stein here at Brown & Wood Buick GMC, home of the lifetime powertrain warranty. Right now we have GMC 1500 Elevation 0.9% or $78.50 off. That truck also has $359 lease special. For Buick, we got the all-new Enclave. It's beautiful, it's big, it can handle all of your luggage, kids, towing, anything. Brown & Wood Buick GMC, 4 brands, 3 generations, 2 rooftops, and 1 goal to make sure you leave a happy customer.
Hey folks, Steve Logan here. Hot or cold, Wilson Roads Heating and Air Conditioning has been in the keeping you comfortable business since 1961 on Hooker Road in Greenville. Steve Rhodes, second generation, gives each customer a 100% satisfaction guarantee. Wilson Roads is an independent trained comfort specialist dealer specializing in new installations, home replacements, and service agreements on all makes and models. Go online at wilsonroads.com and finance up to 60 months on qualifying equipment. Hot or cold, get the job done right. Wilson Roads, you'll be comfortable in no time.
Looking for outdoor storage? Maybe a she shed, man cave, tiny home, or greenhouse? If so, East Carolina Outdoor Products is your one-stop shop. East Carolina Outdoor Products has just opened 2 locations in Greenville, on Memorial Drive across from Ron Ayers and on Greenville Boulevard across from AccuLink. East Carolina Outdoor Products also custom builds right in your lot. East Carolina Outdoor Products is the only company in Eastern North Carolina that manufactures, delivers, and sells outdoor storage buildings. And they're pirates. 10 locations in Eastern North Carolina.
This Veterans Day season, Fish Street Hardware is honoring our heroes with Red, White, and Tunes, a full day of live music, giveaways, great food, cold drinks, and community spirit, supporting Team Red, White, and Blue. Join us Saturday, November 22nd at noon for a flag ceremony by ECU JROTC, then enjoy acoustic acts from 1 to 7:30 featuring Morgan and Griff, Lonnie Britton, Brooke Adamski, and more, all leading into the Eric Dunlow Band rocking the stage from 8 to 11 p.m. Expect great music, local love, and a whole lot of Red, White, and Blue. Donations accepted on site only at Fish Street Hardware Restaurant and Tap Room in downtown Greenville on November 22nd from 1 to 11 p.m.
Coach Logan's in the zone. And now, so are you. Back into the Logan Zone. Brought to you by Bill Clark Homes, Greenville Utilities, and Bojangles. On 94.3 The Game and Talk 96.3.
Welcome back into Week 12 of the Logan Zone. A few minutes left here before we get to the top of the hour break and have Dave Nathan join us. Toss it back over to Coach Logan now. And, Coach, I did forget, I'm sure I forgot more than one guy, but I was just thinking Roger Staubach didn't start his rookie year either. He was sitting behind Craig Morton there for a while. Morton actually took him to the Super Bowl when Staubach was still learning. So plenty of guys didn't start as rookies. Turned out to be pretty damn good quarterbacks in the NFL.
Philip, I'm very proud of you. That's way before your time, so I'm glad that the history part of the game matters so that we don't make the same mistakes twice. But it really... Again, once we started that conversation, I look up here, Daniel Jones, which was mentioned. He was thrown off the Giant roster, and he's over with the Indianapolis Colts now. He's 8-2. The Giants are 2-8. Sam Darnold, he was thrown off the Jets roster, and he's over with Seahawks. Seahawks are 7-2. Jets are 2-7. Here's one to think about: Mike Vrabel. Mike Vrabel fired from the Titans, which shocked everybody. Mike Vrabel is now 8-2 with the New England Patriots and Drake May, and the Titans are 1-8. So, this hair trigger thing, and I talk about this all the time, particularly, in this new world where you fire the coach and you owe the coach $480 million, like LSU, and I've got a whole list of teams here. I think we're approaching, I think, $300 or $400 million in payouts for the coaches that have been fired this year, but when you get into this hair trigger, the fans come down Main Street with their torches and pitchforks and, again, managerial toughness. Managerial toughness. That's a real thing in the NFL and at the collegiate level. You cannot have, your program's going to suffer if your athletic director doesn't exhibit some toughness in some tough times. And I understand, I'm the first to tell you, and I've mentioned this 1,000 times, I was on a staff at Mississippi State University. I think we won 3 or 4 football games in 2 years. I was on that staff, and by the 3rd month there at Mississippi State, we should have been fired on day 1. It was the most chaotic, ridiculous collection of individuals, and I was right there in the middle of it, that I've ever been a part of in the football industry, ever. It was ridiculous. there are times that change is necessary. There's a whole lot of times where change is not necessary and will set your program, you'll set your program into some incredibly desperate years trying to build back just exactly where you were. And let me put it this way. As a head coach, I had to, I think in 10, 11 years as head, well, count the junior college, I think I had 12, 13 years of head coaching, all right? And there were moments when I let an assistant coach go. I didn't do it a lot. Hopefully I hired the right guy and didn't have to do that. I had a lot of assistant coaches that I hired that went on to bigger, better jobs. That's the idea. That's the idea. But here was the question that I would ask myself when I saw an element of my team that just wasn't performing. There were two things I would ask myself. Is the teaching, is it getting taught properly? A. But here's the big thing. I would ask myself, the man that I'm watching, has he lost control of his room? Has he lost control? Do the players, do they not believe in him anymore? That's the big question. And I would put that over to Dave Dorn. I'll guarantee you that locker room believes Dave Dorn. Now they're going to be 6-6 again, maybe 7-5, maybe 5-6. And again, I'm not defending, I'm not rooting, nothing. I'm just talking. You need to really be careful. Take a good look before you make. Those are big decisions that have a big rippling impact throughout your football program and your university. Be careful. We're going to take a break here. We'll be back with Dave Nathan and investigate the drama. University of North Carolina. Y'all stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Hey folks, this is Coach Steve Logan. My friends at Dogwood State Bank are pirates, and they are changing the landscape of community banking. That term, community banking, is not just a catchy slogan for Dogwood State Bank. They really are redefining what it means to bank local. Big banks may want big business, but Dogwood State Bank wants your business no matter what the size. At Dogwood, your business is big business. Dogwood State Bank has offices in Greenville, Morehead City, Wilmington, Raleigh, Sanford, Fayetteville, and Charlotte.
Member FDIC. Want a straighter smile without the hassle of metal braces? At Doctors Bowman Paget and Associates, they make it easy with Invisalign, the clear, comfortable, and virtually invisible way to align your teeth. As a Gold Plus Invisalign provider, their experienced team has helped hundreds of patients. Smile with confidence and see real results without brackets or wires. Call today to schedule your free Invisalign consultation. Your perfect smile is just a call away. 252-752-1111. Doctors Bowman Paget and Associates. Your smile is our passion.
Hey folks, this is Coach Steve Logan for Walton Academy and Children's World Learning Centers. I've known the Walton family for years. In fact, I coached Chad and Blake Walton in Pee Wee years ago. Walton Academy is a K-8 private school in Greenville on Arlington Boulevard. They also operate 4 Children's World Learning Centers across the city. The Waltons believe school should be a place where kids feel inspired, supported, and excited to learn. I promise you that if the Waltons put their name on something, it's done with heart, purpose, and excellence.
Have you had a colonoscopy? If you're between the ages of 45 and 75, you need to be screened regularly for colorectal cancer. Dr. Philip Goldstein and Dr. Maurice Marquardt at Carolina Digestive Diseases and Endoscopy Center want to keep you healthy. They provide treatment and quality care for all GI needs. Just call the office at 252-758-8181.
This is Dr. Philip Goldstein reminding you that a colonoscopy can save your life. Visit our website, cddgastro.com, and come see us at Carolina Digestive Diseases.
Medlin Chevrolet is your trusted Ayden dealership. Medlin Chevrolet has made their home in Ayden, serving Pitt, Lenore, and surrounding areas for 7 years. We're growing. Now under construction is our brand new service facility to serve you even better. Try our service department for your work trucks, fleet, and personal vehicles, and you'll be with us for life. Our staff are courteous, service-minded professionals that answer the phones themselves and walk you through your purchase or service journey. Find the perfect vehicle for your lifestyle today at Medlin Chevrolet, Monday through Saturday, Highway 11, Ayden.
Need to insure a boat in Edenton, a business in Elizabeth City, a car in Greenville? How about a farm truck in Mount Olive or a home on the Outer Banks? Weatherly Insurance Agency, an independent insurance agency with 6 locations in eastern North Carolina, is here to help. Weatherly Insurance Agency has agents you can get to know because they're your neighbors and live in your town. Call today, 252-756-9900 or on the web at weatherlyinsurance.com. From the Outer Banks to the Inner Banks, Weatherly Insurance has you covered.
If you haven't been to Shaw's Barbecue in Williamston lately, you don't know what you're missing. Start the day off right with one of their sausage dogs, old-fashioned cheese biscuits, or any combination of breakfast sandwiches you can think of. For lunch or dinner, get crispy fried chicken, fresh seafood, or, of course, barbecue. You can get pulled, chopped, sliced, even G-Man chopped barbecue. What's G-Man chopped barbecue? Head to Shaw's and ask them. Shaw's Barbecue, West Boulevard in Williamston. Open daily except Sunday.
This is WRHD, Farmville, Greenville. Powered by the Ritchie Law Firm Injury Lawyers. Ritchie Law is on top of it. Go to ritchielaw.com. That's ritchielaw.com.
Coach Logan's in the zone. And now, so are you. Back into the Logan Zone. Brought to you by Bill Clark Homes, Greenville Utilities, and Bojangles. On 94.3 The Game and Talk 96.3.
Welcome back into the Logan Zone here, Week 12 edition of the show. We will open our phone lines up at about 5:20 to take your calls. But right now, there's been I would say, a turn of the tides in Chapel Hill. All things starting to look up. They do have a tough stretch here of the season coming up, including a couple in-state foes in Duke and NC State to close out the season. But we are going to take a deeper dive into what is going on over in Chapel Hill with Dave Nathan. So now I'm going to toss it back over to the host of the Logan Zone, Coach Steve Logan and Dave Nathan.
All right, we are back. And Dave, are you with me?
Coach, I'm with you loud and clear, partner. How are you?
I'm doing great, man. I was telling somebody the other day that what if, but, if North Carolina 4 weeks ago makes one play, and then the next week make one more play, you guys could be sitting on a 4-game winning streak right now. And Steve Logan, I'm going to pat myself on the back. I kept saying, somebody call me late this season and then halfway into next season before we decide that Bill Belichick has forgotten how to coach. So I think that miraculously, Dave, and you heard me say this, I didn't think that there was one football player in the locker room at the University of North Carolina that could tackle anybody ever. And lo and behold, slowly but surely, and Belichick kind of mentioned this in his press conference about identifying and, putting the pieces together slowly. He felt like he could have done it maybe a little bit better or quicker, but it is what it is. But slowly but surely, I don't think they're playing quite the quality opponent that they were. It all matters. But the University of North Carolina is suddenly playing some decent defense and finds themselves in a position to win some football games. And I'll just kick that over to you and let me know what's going on in Chapel Hill.
Yeah, defense is what this team has been hanging its hat on, and it's what kept them in those games against California and Virginia where they had an opportunity to win, but it just literally slipped through their fingers. And then these last two games against Syracuse and against Stanford, more good defense and just enough offense to get to 4-5 now in the year and 2-3 in the ACC. And had it not been for the fumbles in those other two games, we're talking about a team that's bowl eligible right now and above 500 in the ACC. So, I think it's important to understand that this team has gotten better. And as a coach, you could probably tell me just the same way that Bill Belichick has been telling us for the last couple of weeks. This is not an overnight success story, but when you continue to stack good days on good days throughout practice and you produce just a little bit better every day, all of a sudden to people like me and to people that watch the team play once a week, it becomes patently obvious that you're going in the right direction. And I don't know individually, Coach, if there's one player that screams that more than Melcart Abu Jaude, who all of a sudden is among the top 10 sack artists in a single season in Carolina football history, and his name's going to be in the record book, close to people like Greg Ellis and Julius Peppers and Lawrence Taylor and Quentin Coples and some pretty doggone good football players. And it's a testament to hard work, taking coaching, and just seeing the process through.
Well, you're talking about as you were speaking about this young man. Okay, my brain goes to the coaching aspect of it, and here's I think I've mentioned this to you. When I went to work at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, people don't understand how pro football works. Every position coach, I'll just kind of break it down for you. When I was coaching the quarterbacks at San Francisco, I was involved with the passing game at a high level. I was involved with red zone passing scheme. Those were my two buckets of responsibility. I had to make those presentations to the team every week. If it was red zone day, I was up in front of the team presenting, these are our ideas. Okay, let's go to Tampa Bay. I was a running back coach. If you're a running back coach, you and the offensive line coach are responsible for protections. And the game of football at the NFL level, it's made up of the football game, number one. 1A is protections. Defensive coordinators spend their whole week trying to break down whatever protection scheme you're presenting, and offensive coaches are on the other side of the building making damn sure that a $40 million quarterback isn't hit from behind. And that will get you fired so fast. And I can't tell you the amount of time, energy that's spent, that I spent for 3 years at Tampa Bay preparing 2 days, Wednesday and Thursday, are blitz days. That's how important it is. And we would go out there, I'd draw the blitzes up, present it to the scout team had to give, and, just having this idea of making sure that your quarterback is protected. I said all that to say this. Bill Belichick. If Bill Belichick found this young man that you're referencing, he identified, okay, this kid can be a game wrecker. I promise you that the reason that suddenly the people in the stands are going, hey, how about this guy? He's sacking everybody. Where's he been? Coaching matters. And Bill Belichick, I promise you, along with his son, they know exactly how to line up against Wake Forest, for instance, this week, and they're going to make sure that that kid, more often than not, is in a single block situation by design, not by accident, by design, as many times as they can possibly create it. And I'm just presenting to you, that's coaching. And there's a lot of good players that don't get that. They don't get, you've heard that term, it's a coach's job to put the player in a position to make a play, right? And it is.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
But I'm just telling you right now, for this kid to come out of nowhere to a degree, and suddenly he's just sacking this and sacking that, that's coaching, along with ability. Nobody's going to ride a jackass and win the Kentucky Derby. We all know that. You got to have talent. So, Belichick's identified that, and the Belichick's son and father are putting this kid in position to make a play. I promise you there's some of that going on.
Yeah, also just to be fair to the entire defensive unit, and you can speak to this on the offensive side, and I think you kind of just did, where your line is blocking to protect a $40 million asset so he can get the ball to somebody else making $20 million to go make a play. Football, it's a team of teams, and you're not getting to the quarterback sometimes unless your back 4 or 5 guys are doing their job. So there's a lot more to it than just watching a guy go get the quarterback. If you were to watch the old 22 film, it might be a little more obvious about why some of these things are happening, because they're not all happening in the same way. Some of these sacks are on scrambles. Some of them are just on dropbacks. Some of them are covered sacks. There's a lot more that goes into it than just one guy winning his matchup. But to your point, and if you go back and you watch the old Patriots, offensively, I want to say, Coach, that they would align themselves in certain ways so that the defense wasn't even sure who was eligible. And that made a mess of problems for trying to figure out where the defense should be. And throughout the years, Bill Belichick has made a pretty good living for himself and a lot of other people by outfoxing you sometimes just at the line of scrimmage on how you line up.
Well, he did that a couple of times famously. And people, here's a difference that I think a lot of fans don't understand. In the NFL, substitutions, formation distortions. All right, you can't just go to the line of scrimmage and have a tackle eligible in the NFL without identifying that to the referee and the referee identifying that to the defense. All right, but Belichick found a couple of ways to go through the identification process, and still the defense couldn't get lined up properly, and they threw a couple of famous touchdown passes to tackle eligibles. But, unbalanced lines, things of that nature, they're they're prohibited to a degree at the NFL level. In college, you can line up any way you want to line up, and it's up to the officials to figure it out if it's legal or not. So, there is a whole, and I'm sure Belichick, along with Freddie Kitchens, the offensive coordinator at UNC, I'm sure they're sitting in there, they're like kids in a candy store right now because there's so much freedom at the collegiate level, and both of those men obviously spent a long time in the NFL. And so it's kind of an unrestricted deal. So that's an interesting point. Let me ask you this. What, I read 2 weeks ago, I think you and I were talking about it, that the University of North Carolina, they got 40 players signed up into this freshman class. Is that still the general idea?
Well, the general idea is to get a big haul of high school kids, and I couldn't honestly, Coach, tell you what the numbers look like right now or who's doing what, but Michael Lombardi, the GM's been on record several times in saying the high school route is where they're focusing most of their energy for the upcoming class.
Is there any talk, because I've been, I'll be real blunt here, I've been a little bit shocked, and it makes more sense to me now. I think Gio Lopez is okay. I think that the talent level from South Alabama into the ACC has been a bit of a big step for the kid. He's getting better. I don't think he's a difference maker. And I got to believe that, Belichick and Lombardi and all those guys, do they have a quarterback in this freshman class, A? B, are they zeroing in on a portal transfer quarterback? Is there any discussion along those lines at the quarterback position?
Well, I can tell you they brought in a kid last year from East Forsyth that, again, some of these kids it's obvious that they're going to be the guy the moment they step on the field. And, Coach, you could probably rattle off a whole bunch of different 4 or 5 stars that just never quite made it for whatever reason. So having not seen Bryce play in any sort of game-like situation, I have no idea if he's going to be the quarterback of the future or not at Carolina. But I do know this. He came in with a heck of a bunch of hype, and he's on campus right now. So that's the best I can do for you in terms of who might be waiting in the wings to be throwing the ball next year.
All right. Now, on to the next, this is big-time water cooler talk, but there's something to this, Dave. Bill Belichick, number one, he's 15 victories away from being the all-time winningest coach in the NFL. I know, everybody knows. If he gets a chance, he's going to go get that done. And we all know the clock is ticking, and he's 73, whatever years he is old, which to me is a non-event. I mean, the man can coach. But all of a sudden, the New York Giant job is open. And, if there was anybody in the NFL that would pull the trigger and bring Belichick back into the league, it would take a particular set of circumstances. It would take a particular franchise that would do it, and both of those elements, in my opinion, are present. The New York Giants and Bill Belichick can handle the New York press. And the New York Giants are a football team that I think are built to win kind of now, particularly with with this Jackson Dart kid who's shown that, he could be the real deal. Their defense is solid. They can run the football. And I'm just saying there's got to be some murmurs and some like, oh, my goodness, something like that could happen. And what's the yak in Chapel Hill about that?
Well, Coach Belichick was asked about that at his press conference on Tuesday, and as you could imagine, you probably got this manual, Coach. When your name comes up in connection to another job, you say that you're focused on the current job and whoever the current opponent is. And Coach Belichick told everybody his focus right now was on Wake Forest. But sure, you connect the dots. There's history with Bill Belichick and the Giants. He was on the staff for 2 Super Bowls with Bill Parcells. It's a logical connection to make. They've got, you could probably tell me this, the ownership that's in place with New York, it's as reputable as there is in the NFL, yes. Going back a couple of generations. Again, I'm probably stepping out of my pay grade here to say anything about it, but it's going to take one side of an organization wanting to do this because, as you said, there's some pretty good history that Bill Belichick is chasing right now in the NFL. He clearly wants to coach wherever that might be, and conveniently right now for Carolina, it's in Chapel Hill. But we've been through a couple of cycles, and we kind of are where we are.
Well, when that whole thing came about 3 days ago, 48 hours ago, it's the very first thing I thought of. And then, if I'm thinking of it, everybody else is too. But, the Maras with the New York Giants, there are franchises, as we all know. Belichick was named the head coach of the Jets, and then he resigned one day later to take the New England job, and I don't know how he wiggled out of that contract, but Belichick's just not going to work in a nut house, and there are plenty of nut houses in the NFL, plenty of them, and but the Giants are not one of those. There's a top-down structure, there's an expectation, there's a commitment to winning, and all those things are in place. And as we sit here, I'm on record as saying I would not be surprised. Like I say, it's going to take a particular set of circumstances and a particular franchise for Belichick to leave Chapel Hill. But lo and behold, something like that. And then if that happened, the entire University of North Carolina would melt down, I would think. Dave, what do you think?
Well, I think any school or any organization would want to have a coach that's wanted by other people, because that tells you that they're held in pretty high esteem, and there's a lot of different people out there that think that this person can get the job done at any number of spots. And obviously Bill Belichick is at the top of that list in terms of being able to get it done anywhere that he's been before. But again, if somebody's going to have to make a move here, it's not enough for somebody just to want a job. And I'm not saying that anybody does want a job right now. All I'm saying is that there's going to you have to have mutual interest for one of these things to happen. And, and until it does, I'm going to stand by and watch him do his thing at Carolina.
Well, it's interesting to me to watch him do it. And again, I'm on record as saying it's going to work, particularly with the money they've got. But, real quick, you got all 3 in-state opponents are lined up for the University of North Carolina. You're going to Wake, then you got Duke, then you got NC State, and that would be quite a statement if you pull off a 3-0 run right there. What do you think?
100%, and it goes in so many different waves to make an impact in your backyard, to make an impact in the ACC, to potentially win your last 5 games if you win these next 3. There's a lot on the line, but you can't win all 3 of them without winning the first one, and that's Saturday at Wake. Wake's a good team. They've got a really good first-year head coach in Jake Dickert that's got them at 6-3 and 3-3 in the ACC. So it'll be a challenge. The last 5 games have been decided by just a single possession, so I got every reason to think there's going to be a lot of pitching and defense, Coach, that decides this one.
All right, I'm with you. Dave, I appreciate you coming in, and if Belichick suddenly goes to the Giants, give me a call.
I'll let him know I know a pretty good play caller.
All right. Thanks for coming in, Dave.
All right, Coach. See you.
All right. We're going to take a break. and I want you to jump into this show, 252-561-4263, 252-561-4263. Give me a call, join in. I'll talk to you about anything. You can hit me on Twitter at Steve Logan Show. We're going to take a break.
Remember the days when you could go to your favorite butcher shop and get your pork chops or steaks cut just the way you like them? Well, you still can. Acre Station Meat Farm on Highway 32 in Pinetown, north of Washington, is Eastern Carolina's traditional butcher shop. Acre Station is where you can get your order cut the way you want it. The best sausage, bacon, and pork chops and steaks you'll ever taste. The short trip to Acre Station is worth the drive.
At Acre Station, you just get that good, friendly service you just can't find anymore.
I guarantee it's the best sausage and bacon you'll ever eat.
Is your pharmacy fumbling when it comes to customer service, prescription fills, compounding, medical equipment, and enteral intravenous therapy? Perhaps it's time for you to allow HealthWise Pharmacy to score a touchdown in regards to your pharmaceutical needs. Locally owned and operated by pharmacist Marcy Parker, HealthWise Pharmacy puts you and your health first, offering top-of-the-line customer service, individual attention, and free prescription delivery to anywhere in Pitt County. HealthWise Pharmacy, 615B Memorial Drive in Greenville.
Hallo, this is meine Auto. Und this is meine key. And there is only one place I trust with meine key. Meine key Car Care. They even offer financing options, so I can fix now and pay over time. Ooh, I love financing. And options. And meine key. And American cheese! Remember, I only trust Meineke with Meineke, your one-stop shop for total car care.
At participating locations, subject to credit approval, minimum monthly payment required. See store for details. Meineke locations are independently owned and operated.
Have you been to Jaggers on Memorial Drive yet? I'm a regular at Jaggers, and let me tell you, if you want fresh, not frozen, you need to come to Jaggers. Burgers, chicken sandwiches, all sorts of salads, and the shoestring fries. Oh, I love those shoestring fries. My favorite is the Berry Fresh Grilled Chicken Salad, one of the best salads I've ever had. My grandkids love the burgers and fries and the chicken tenders with the awesome honey mustard and ranch. Everything is fresh at Jaggers. They don't cut any corners. Jaggers on Memorial Drive in Greenville. Also now open in Fayetteville.
Fall is a great time for broadcast weed control. Let Eastern Turf Maintenance give your lawn the attention it needs and keep winter weeds out of your yard. When the Pirates come out to compete, they want to make sure their field is ready too. Eastern Turf Maintenance maintains the field for ECU, and they can do the same for you and your lawn. Contact Eastern Turf Maintenance today. Go to etmlawncare.com for all the information. That's ETM for Eastern Turf Maintenance, lawncare.com.
Hey, this is Gray Fussell, fourth-generation winemaker at Duplin Winery and proud alumnus of ECU. It's that time of year again, time for my latest Duplin radio ad and time for Pirate football. As always, I'd love for you to visit us in Rose Hill, North Myrtle Beach, or Panama City Beach, and to look for our delicious Duplin wines at your favorite store. You can also check us out online at duplinwinery.com for all of our wines and the best cheesecake in the world. Thank you for your support, and go Pirates!
Turkey, ham, bacon, these and other meats are great around the holidays and every other day, but they all leave behind grease when you cook them, and grease is a real pain in the drain. When you pour grease down a drain, it cools and can clog sewer lines. That can lead to sewer spills, which are messy, bad for the environment, and can also be expensive. Never pour grease down the drain. Instead, collect it in a container like a used soup can or jar. Let it cool and throw it away in the trash. Together, we can protect our sewer system and the environment. For more information, go to guc.com.
Coach Logan's in the zone. And now, so are you. Back into the Logan Zone. Brought to you by Bill Clark Homes, Greenville Utilities, and Bojangles. On 94.3 The Game and Talk 96.3.
Welcome back into the Logan Zone here, Week 12 edition. Taking your calls the rest of the way at 252-561-4263. Reminder, the best caller will get an 8-piece tailgate from Bojangles. Now we're going to toss it back over to the host, Coach Logan.
All right. I was just handed a new top 20. So, Philip, before I get started on this, does East Carolina sell alcohol in the stadium?
They do.
They do?
Yep.
Well, I'm stunned at this top 20 then. So is this nationwide now? Colleges can sell alcohol? Does everybody do it? that you know of or not?
As far as I know, everybody's kind of got different rules as to where you can take it. I know, for example, Charlotte's kind of got like a beer garden area that you can't take it outside of that beer garden, but you can see the field from the beer garden. So there's all different kinds of weird rules. I know, like, for example, Duke basketball, you can buy it, but if you can't take it into the student section. So there's all different kinds of rules and regulations. As far as I know, pretty much everybody, I'm sure BYU ain't selling it. I'm sure Liberty ain't selling it, but everybody but them, for the most part, I think is.
Okay, well, I was just handed the top 20 alcohol sales. Who do you think is number one?
Well, Michigan's got the most seats, so I'm just going to guess Michigan by default because it gives me the best chance of being right.
Pretty good guess. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They are number 6 in the nation in alcohol sales, but they're not even close. Number 1, and it's a runaway, the University of Wisconsin.
Wow.
They have sold, and this is about 2 weeks ago, they have sold 255,122 units. So are they selling beer and wine, or just beer, or is that up to each?
They're saying units. It might be beer, wine, and a little something stronger. I don't know, Coach.
I don't know either. I'm not a beer drinker. But anyway, the University of Wisconsin, they have made $3 million selling 255,122 glasses of beer, I guess. So the University of Wisconsin, they are knee-walking drunk by the end of the fourth quarter, and this year they probably need to be because they just can't win. The University of Wisconsin has been a disaster, and that's another deal about running off a football coach that I've been talking about. You better be careful. You better be careful about which direction you go. But anyway, down the list we go, just for entertainment purposes only. University of Wisconsin's number 1. Number 2, most alcohol sales, University of Nebraska. I can understand that. I've been to the University of Nebraska. There's nothing there.
Also, Coach, when Matt Rule's your head coach, you drink a lot of beer. I'm just speaking from experience.
You got to give Matt credit, though. He's got them competitive.
I know he does. I know. Me and Zoki just go hard on Matt Rule all the time because we can. Also, my dad grew up in Colorado, Coach. I can't say anything nice about the University of Nebraska.
I know. I was at the University of Colorado when Bill McCartney circled the University of Nebraska in red and challenged them publicly, and then we went right over there and we beat the University of Nebraska. He was hell-bent on doing it, and we did it. Third on the list, University of Tennessee, 107,000 units of beer for $1.6 million. LSU, 1, 2, 3, fourth. LSU at 134 buckets of beer for $1.4 million. Then comes Minnesota, then Michigan, Indiana, West Virginia. I'm shocked West Virginia is this far down on the list. University of Kentucky, Illinois, Michigan State. Most of these are northern universities, aren't they, come to think of it? They're just trying to stay warm. That's the problem. Indiana, West Virginia, University of Kentucky, Illinois, Michigan State, Ohio University, University of North Texas coming in at about 15, Toledo, Bowling Green, Central Michigan, Western Michigan, UMass, which if you're a UMass fan, you got to start drinking the moment it's Saturday morning dawns. They hadn't won a football game since Newt Rockne was coaching. Miami University, Ball State. How about that? They're all, with the exception of LSU and North Texas, all of these top alcohol sales schools are in the northeast.
I'm guessing when you said Miami, you meant the one in Ohio and not the one in South Beach.
Correct. University of Miami, Ohio is number 19. They've sold 3,000 glasses of beer or cups of beer. I don't know how they sell it. So anyway, there's your top 20 for alcohol sales, just for entertainment purposes only. Okay, so I've been kind of saving up this stuff all through the week. This college football playoff thing, and Philip, you and I were talking about this before the show. The idea, this idea of having, I don't know, I've got it right here in front of me, and how many teams are in the American Athletic Conference. 1, 2, 3, 4,
14.
5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 15?
They've got
Is that
14
right?
in football because Wichita
14.
doesn't play football.
Okay, so the Atlantic Coast Conference, the ACC's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17 teams. All right, and the Big 12, they've got something like that. The Big 10, they've got something like that. And the SEC used to have 12 when I was coaching in it.
They're up to 16 now. They've added A&M, Missouri, Oklahoma, and Texas. They're at 16.
Okay, so the point I'm making is here, what this is doing, because these conferences now have automatic bids. The Power Four people have taken over college football, the Southeastern Conference and the Big Ten in particular. Those two commissioners, Greg Sankey is down in the SEC, and I don't know the guy's name, the Big Ten, but those two guys basically run college football now. And these mega conferences, there's two things going on. You're gonna guarantee the SEC champion a slot in the playoff, which is fine, okay? But let me just throw something at you right here. Wisconsin beat Washington last week, which makes the Big Ten record for Indiana's final regular season opponents 2 and 23. Now think about that. Indiana's rated number 2 in the nation right now. Here's who they've got left to play. This was last week. Maryland, 1 and 5. I'm talking about in the conference. Penn State, 0 and 6, and now they beat Penn State on the last play of the game. Wisconsin, 1 and 5. Purdue, 0 and 7. And so I think Lane Kiffin talked about this in his press conference the other day. You know, this strength of schedule thing, it's proving that this college football playoff committee, don't get me started on that too, because that just drives me crazy. It drives me crazy. That's backdoor cigar smoking stuff. Now they're using computers now, I got that, but they constantly talk about strength of schedule. Lane Kiffin captured it perfectly. He said, you know what strength of schedule will get you? And he pointed this out. In fact, I had it somewhere, and I can't put my finger on it. The top 10 toughest schedules in the NCAA in football, 5 of those coaches have been fired. And Kiffin made the point. He said, I'll tell you what strength of schedule will get you. It won't necessarily eliminate you from the college football playoff if you've got a weak schedule. It won't eliminate you if you've got a weak schedule. A real heavy strength of schedule will get you fired. That's what it will do. And this strength of schedule thing, I mean, these giant conferences, you could end up, you know, through luck of the draw, your schedule comes up and you're playing the whole bottom half of your conference and getting credit because they're a Big Ten or an SEC win or whatever the case may be. And it's just it's just getting crazy. Strength of schedule as of last week. Alabama has the 6th strongest strength of schedule as we sit here. Georgia, 11th. I'm talking about in the nation, strength of schedule. Georgia's 11. Texas is number 13. Texas A&M is 15. Oregon is 24. Notre Dame is 30. Ole Miss is 32. Indiana is 33. Miami is 39, which gets back to what again, this morning, you know, I came out and said it out loud. The ACC's not a very good football conference this year. At its best, the ACC is a good Miami team, a good Florida State team, and a good Clemson team. Well, Clemson and Florida State for whatever reasons, haven't put a football team on the field this year. If I know everybody's got a short memory, Clemson was number 3 in a preseason poll. Number 3. And I don't even know if they've got a winning record as we sit here. I think there's something like 4-4 or something like that. But Texas Tech's got the 48th toughest schedule, and then the University of South Florida is sitting there at 54. As we sit here, those are your top 12. That's who's going into the playoffs as we sit here. And this strength of schedule thing, it's just getting crazy because these mega conferences are producing schedules where the best aren't playing the best during the year. There's some of that going on. But here's some scenarios for you concerning the 12-team playoff that's coming your way soon in about a month. Texas A&M could make the SEC championship game. Listen to this now. Texas A&M could make the SEC championship game without playing Ole Miss, Alabama, Georgia, Oklahoma, or Vanderbilt. You say, well, how can that be? Well, the reason it's that way is because the conference is so big that these schedules are coming out almost upside down. Georgia Tech could make the ACC title game without playing Miami, Louisville, University of Virginia, or SMU, which is basically the top half of the ACC. So Georgia Tech, they played Duke, and I think they got. Did Duke win that football game?
No, Georgia Tech. Duke
Tech
lost the football game. Georgia Tech just kind of stood there and received it.
I saw that, and then but Duke fooled around and beat Clemson. So I mean, let's go to the Big Ten. How about this? I just read you Indiana's schedule down the stretch here. They're going to play Big Ten football against 4 teams with a grand total of 2 conference victories. All right? Ohio State, they could win the Big Ten title without playing Oregon, Indiana, Iowa, or Southern Cal. And so, you know, this whole scenario it's tumbling toward one more. I know last year everybody was upside down about, you know, the playoff needed to be reseeded before they kicked it off, which they did not do, and suddenly you found 2 of the best playing each other early in the tournament, and then you ended up lopsided toward the end of the tournament. And they've taken steps this year to remedy that, which is healthy. But I'm just telling you that I don't know, we may be 2, 3, 4 years away before this thing settles into something that makes some sort of sense. Okay? The Big 12, as we sit here right now, the Big 12 and the ACC, they're going to get 1 bid apiece. And the ACC, there's a scenario the ACC could be totally left out. I think, Philip, what you and I were talking about, if Duke won the ACC, which is theoretically possible as we sit here, that would leave the ACC totally out of the 12-team tournament.
As long as James Madison wins the Sun Belt, which they are a heavy favorite to do, if Duke wins the ACC, I'm sure their commissioner and all their money, they'd find a way to get Duke in, but theoretically, based off current rankings, no, they would not have a representative in the college football playoff.
I mean, the SEC, as we sit here, they could have 6 teams in a 12-team national 12-team conference. So, you know, I don't know where the whole thing is going, and I don't have all the answers, but I do know that this entire I've said this since I entered college football. The first time I coached college football was, 1979, spring of 79? It dawned on me real quick, it was the most uneven playing field in all of sport. It was then, and it still is. Oh, all right. Give me a call. I'll talk to you about anything. Love to hear from y'all. You can hit me with a tweet at Steve Logan Show. hit me on the phone at 252-561-4263. We'll take a break. We'll be right back.
At Parker's Barbecue, our family has been serving your family for 3 generations.
For that, we say thank you.
Blessing families every Thursday. Kids eat free all day. That's the Parker's way.
Legendary food served from our 3 locations. Always quick, always delicious. That's the Parker's way.
At Parker's, our mission is to impact our customers through Christ-like service in a way that feeds them both physically and spiritually. That is the Parker's way.
I remember this little girl, hearing her parents fighting, seeing them arguing, feeling every emotion of fear, sadness, even guilt. I remember her because she was me, and she still is. I'm Ashley Nicole Russell, and I know firsthand that divorce can have a lifelong impact on a child. And when attorneys put their own interests first, it only tears families further apart. That's why I grew up to become an attorney who focuses on common ground, peaceful divorce for the whole family. Contact us at michaelandrussell.com and anrlaw.com today.
At CCS Equipment Sales, we're proud to be your one-stop certified Takeuchi construction equipment dealer. Our knowledgeable staff is dedicated to building lasting relationships by providing solutions to your needs for new or used equipment, rentals, parts, and service. Our inventory includes Takeuchi excavators, track loaders, wheel loaders, along with a wide range of attachment options. In Ayden, Angier, or Youngsville, or check us out online at ccsequipment.com. And remember, at CCS Equipment, we believe we succeed when you succeed.
Your roof has seen its better days. During a really hard rain, you get a leak. Call a roofing contractor, and before they look at it, they say you need a new roof. Well, maybe you do, or maybe it can be repaired and last for a few more years. Whichever the case, Langley Roofing will give you an honest assessment. Whether it's commercial or residential, Langley Contracting will get the job done with their own employees. That's why you get a 25-year warranty. Easy number to remember, 252-214-ROOF. That's 214-ROOF. Langley Contracting, 214-ROOF.
Capital Subaru of Greenville invites you to fall into savings this November. As Pirate football rolls down the stretch, Capital Subaru of Greenville now has new 2025 Outback models with 0.9% APR for 72 months. That's 6 years of 0.9% financing on your new Outback. Whether it's the new Outback, Crosstrek, or any other new Subaru, you'll always enjoy the best sales experience and service. Capital Subaru of Greenville on Memorial Drive, a proud official partner of the ECU Pirates.
Your vehicle packs a load of safety features to protect you in an accident. At North Carolina Farm Bureau Insurance, it's our job to protect you just as well after an accident. With fast claims service from local agents, our auto coverage is a lot like an airbag. We hope you never need to use it, but we're right there and ready just in case you do. North Carolina Farm Bureau Insurance, helping you is what we do best.
In Greenville, call 252-756-3165. That's 252-756-3165.
The best burgers around. Everyone loves a thick, juicy, and fresh burger. Tiebreakers does real burgers better than anybody. And don't forget about the cheese sticks, fresh salads, and more. So don't just go to any burger-themed restaurant chain. It's time to break the chain and eat local. Tiebreakers, burgers and sports at its best. Go Pirates! Arrgh!
Coach Logan's in the zone. And now, so are you. Back into the Logan Zone. Brought to you by Bill Clark Homes, Greenville Utilities, and Bojangles. On 94.3 The Game and Talk 96.3.
Welcome back into the Week 12 edition of the Logan Zone Final Drive here. Reminder, we are 4-6 today due to East Carolina basketball. The network coverage will take over on 94.3 The Game and ECU Sports Network at 6:30. So only going till 6 o'clock here on the Logan Zone Final Drive. So we got about 10 minutes left in the show. Take it away, Coach.
All righty. Couple of things here. People are starting to, as I've mentioned over and over again, we don't have college football anymore. We have football that happens to be associated with some colleges and universities. What we're doing, we're playing pro football at a reduced price. In some cases, they're spending $70 million out in Lubbock, Texas, and $60 million in Austin and Columbus, Ohio, and places like that. But The rest of the world is operating on, whatever it is they get from the rev share, and we are now in pro football, along with the fact that unlike pro football, college football, if you want to call it that, is in what we would now term unrestricted free agency. It's unrestricted, all right? And in fact, as a little caveat to that, in my home state of Oklahoma, because the legislature did not want to get involved in adjudication of high school athletics, a young man can play football at Broken Arrow High School. He can play basketball somewhere in Tulsa, run track somewhere over in Oklahoma City, and possibly play baseball out in the Panhandle if he wants to. It doesn't matter. You can go anywhere you want, anytime you want, if you're an athlete, which is really interesting. But anyway, we're in unrestricted free agency at the collegiate level. We all know that now. And this has to do with the quarterbacks. For years, and I'll use a little laboratory that I experienced at East Carolina. In 1993, I had a young man named Mark Crandall in 1993, and he was a local young man not far from Greenville, and a fairly highly recruited young man. He came to me redshirted. His first year, he broke his leg, and our quarterback room was not equipped. We were only as good as our backup quarterback. We immediately won 2 games and lost 9. The next year, I went on a mission. I made sure I went to New Jersey, and I signed a young man named Danny Gonzalez. And Danny came in and backed up Mark Crandall for the next 3 years. In the 3rd year, Mark hurt his knee his senior year, and Danny came in and won like 7 or 8 games for us, and then started for us the next year. So the point I'm making is a Danny Gonzalez, who Danny went down to the Miami Dolphins and I think made their practice squad for like 2 years. A high-quality quarterback, great young man. I loved coaching him, and but my point is he was caught with no way out. He had to sit on the bench for, 2.5, maybe almost 3 years of his 4 years of eligibility. He had to sit on the bench behind an exceptional quarterback in Mark Crandall. And this was routine business at the collegiate level. That's the way it's always been, okay? You get trapped in the quarterback room, you're the starter or you're not. It's unlike any other position on the football team. Lots of wide receivers can play. You can play several people on the offensive line, defensive line, linebackers, name it. You can sub people in and everybody gets to kind of play, but not the quarterback position. It's too disruptive. You can't sub it in and sub it out. Well, having said all that and set the table, here's the new world we're living in. 84% of the college football quarterbacks transfer at least once in their career now, since this free agency stuff opened up. According to the study, 42 of the top 50, this is recruiting rankings now, 42 of the top 50 quarterbacks in the class of 2021 transferred, with the ones that stayed doing so only because they won the job early. So it's 42 of 50 transferred. And I'm going to take you where I want to go here, okay? The majority who transferred ended up being the starter. But of the 18 that transferred multiple times, only 1 became the starter. The wide receiver group is up next. 41 of the top 50 wide receivers transferred, and the running backs were third with a 70% transfer rate. Offensive and defensive linemen transferred the least with a 48 to 44% transfer rate. So your offensive and defensive linemen, you got a chance to keep them. And, the wide receivers, that doesn't surprise you. Wide receivers are like coaching a basketball team. And I've often said this. There is no way that I could have been a basketball coach because of the 1 basketball and 5 players, everybody wants to shoot it. And there's not enough basketballs to go around. And the game of basketball, there's an inherent selfishness. And wide receivers are built that way. In fact, Just today, I was driving along, and I'm paying attention, but not really tight, close attention. It comes to my, I'm aware now suddenly that I guess the receiver's name is A.J. Brown at the Philadelphia Eagles. The Philadelphia Eagles are 7-2. They're in position to make a playoff run, and guess what? A.J.'s not getting enough balls thrown his way, and he's turning the locker room upside down. That kind of stuff right there is, man, that's hard for me to take. But anyway, the point I'm making is if 84% of the college quarterbacks are transferring now, and you've got a football team that doesn't have a quarterback, that's your fault. That's your fault. You got to go out and you got to have a good quarterback, and you should in this day and age. All right, we got a caller on the line, and that looks to be Chris. Chris, you with us?
I am. Thank you, guys. I appreciate it. Coach Logan, love your show. It's like perfect coming home from work just to think about something different. So I really appreciate what you do.
Yeah.
I tell you, you bring up a great point with the quarterbacks, and so I'm sitting here thinking about it. And as the East Carolinas of the world, the Caton Hausers, we hear through Pirate Club people and different things, hey, he's been offered $2-3 million to go to different schools. At what point are the East Carolinas, the App States, the UNC Charlottes, at what point, if they're not already, are basically junior colleges like we used to have back in the day? At what point are they just junior colleges, and that's kind of all we're good for is producing transferable players? And I'm just curious to get your thoughts on that. I'll hang up and let you talk, and I appreciate it, guys. Thanks.
Okay, Chris, that's a great question, and I appreciate you calling in. I will tell you, you framed your question, and you said, at what point are we just a junior college? You're there now. That's exactly what you are right now. The roster management, and I've mentioned this before, the toughest place to coach in this current day and age is the American Athletic Conference. Because as you look at the Power Four, where is the next place you would look to find an overlooked high school player that's been somewhat developed? It's the American Athletic Conference. It's East Carolina. It's Memphis. So here's what has to happen, and this is the delicate dance that the American Athletic Conference coaches have to do. You got to get lucky and develop what you can out of high school, understanding and knowing you're going to lose that player. He's going to be gone, okay? But you still got to develop him and get what you can out of him. In the meantime, you've got to catch, we just got through saying that, 75% of the wide receivers in the top 50 recruits last year transferred, okay? You got to catch them coming down. You got to catch that kid that signed at Alabama as a wide receiver, and he's a typical wide receiver. He didn't get enough balls thrown his way, so he gets disgruntled, and East Carolina catches him on the way down. And right now it looks like East Carolina's management system, roster management system, has been good, lucky, whatever you want to call it. Memphis has been good, lucky, Tulane, all right, and down the list you go. But, you can look at these other schools in the American Athletic Conference. Let me tell you who hasn't been good or lucky catching kids coming up and catching them going down. Alabama Birmingham. They're having a hard time. They don't have any defensive football players. Tulsa Golden Hurricane, my alma mater. They're dreadful to watch play football. But the good news is, for a Tulsa University, is that you can change that almost overnight. And Tulsa University is a prime suspect. I know that the University of Tulsa has got some boosters that could sit down and write a check tonight. And tomorrow, meaning next year, Tulsa University could win the American Athletic Conference quickly. very quickly. So, are you a junior college? Well, that's one way to put it. What you are a conduit. The American Athletic Conference is a conduit, the biggest conduit to the transfer portal. Coming and going. It'll be interesting year to year, see how that shakes out. All right, there's your show. Philip?
It was fun, Coach.
Help, man.
We'll do it again next week.
We'll do it again next week. We're going to do Thursday again. Is that true?
Thursday at 5.
Thursday at 5. See y'all next week.